Hey, and welcome back to my channel. My name is 𝕊𝕦𝕓𝕤, and you may notice I have switched directions. If not, I am no longer on that wall. I am facing back to my window, basically. I redid my altar and my apothecary, both of which are not completely finished. I will do another altar tour update on those shortly. Today's video is actually the first episode of my new series, Witch Talk 101. In this series, we will just be going over the basics and kind of beginner steps, or for beginner kind of tips, how-tos and things like that. But let's go ahead and get into the video. So when asked the question, what is witchcraft, it's a very vast response to give, because witchcraft is different for everybody. So the real question isn't what is witchcraft, but what is witchcraft to you? For me, witchcraft is energy. Energy we create, energy from the earth, energy from the universe, things we can put out. That is witchcraft to me. Along with a very personal things and a few other things, but again, witchcraft is a very personal sort of practice and craft. So again, it's really not what is witchcraft, but what can you make of witchcraft. Now before we get in, I do want to touch base on a lot of the misconceptions of witchcraft, primarily being that witchcraft is evil or that we worship the devil. Witch talk is not satanic. And for many witches, it doesn't even have to be religious. You don't have to follow or be a part of any sort of religion to be a witch. And also, I have seen plenty of Christian witches. And it's not that far-fetched. A lot of Christianity has a hand-in-hand in not only paganism, but witchcraft, if you think about it. Anyways, I digress again. I will always branch off. You'll see me flicker over. I have to write everything down. My brain is like on hyperdrive constantly. So I have my points, and I will branch off a bunch, so don't mind me. So witchcraft can be your path, but a witch can be anyone. And a lot of people say that boys can't be witches, but there actually are a lot of boys that are witches. Witchcraft isn't a thing that's made for one group of people or one gender or one race. It is a universal thing. So whether you be male or whether you be female, witchcraft is for everyone. Now, there are practices that are closed practices that you usually need to be welcome or initiated in, if not born into. So you do want to study or research any craft that you are interested in going into before practicing, which again I'll talk about later. But you're more than welcome to research and study any craft, or there are certain crafts that you can't actually practice without the initiation or the permission to do so. Now, touching back on the religion aspect of witchcraft, again, you do not have to be a religious person to practice witchcraft. You will, however, see a good majority of witches will either identify themselves as Wiccan or pagan or none of the above. Again, like I said, I have met Christian witches. There are a bunch of type of witches. Now, you can be Wiccan and not be a witch, and you can be pagan and not be a witch. It all depends on you, but like I said, usually a witch will be either or none of the above. Whichever fits or whichever resonates best with you. For me personally, I have read about Wicca, I have looked into Wicca, but me personally, I don't follow that path. Another kind of bracket or branch to consider when looking into witchcraft or when practicing is the types of witches. At the end of the day, you are a witch, regardless of what tools or traditions you primarily work with. Now that, I'm sure there are, of course, the odd ones or the ones that are exceptions to this, not really rule, but exceptions to this thing. But as far as I know, as far as I know, at the end of the day, you're a witch, regardless if you're an eclectic, a solitary, in a coven, sea witch, forest witch, bone witch, you're a witch. If witch is at the end of it, obviously, Makes sense, you're a witch, right? I do consider myself an eclectic witch because I do take interest in not only the tools but the traditions of a lot of different aspects and types of witchcraft and witchery. So, as you notice, my channel is also about herbalism. I do want to incorporate them into my witchcraft, but currently I am just focusing on the medicinal aspects of herbs. I also am reading and studying bonecraft, along with divination, and a few of the types of witches. I will do a deeper dive video later as a part of this series, but right now I just want to touch base on a few. Now, I mentioned there is a bone witch. Bone witches usually work bones into their craft. As you have seen, I have a skull and a jawbone. I'm sorry, all you animal lovers. We do breed rabbits for meat, and thus I do plan on keeping their skulls and incorporating those into my craft, things like that. After that, there are, of course, like I mentioned, eclectic witches, which are witches that basically not only use the tools, but they also study the traditions and practices of multiple traditions and practices in witchcraft. They do so responsibly and respectfully, I'm sure, as I am, but again, they research and study multiple aspects. They don't usually just stick with one thing. They incorporate everything into their craft. Green witches do generally flourish in the gardening area, which I'm jealous of because I do not have that green thumb. Almost everything I try to plant dies, unfortunately. Final type of witch that I want to touch base on is a solitary witch, and that is a witch that, as its name suggests, a witch that practices in a solitary environment, which by just general definition of that makes me a solitary witch. Now, being a solitary witch doesn't necessarily mean you do not have a community of witches that you reach out to if you have questions, or witches that you help if they have questions. It just means that you do not practice in a large group. Also, from what I understand, covens are not something you can just jump into and be like, I'm part of this group. You do have to be initiated into it. Again, a solitary witch is generally a witch that practices by themselves, even if they do have a community that they reach out to. If you are a new witch or beginning witch, I don't like to call them baby witches, it's weird, or if you are just interested in witchcraft, I do recommend the first thing you do is get a notebook. We call our notebooks books of shadows, and what that is just a notebook that we write down everything that resonates with us and for our path. So I do recommend you get one and jot down just basic information that you find useful, even if it's the moon phases and what to do on them. I do recommend you write down everything so it is just quicker to access than having to go online. I am 2 years into my practice and I still do not know by heart the moon phases and what to do on them. I just recently wrote it down and put it up on the wall of my altar so I can remember. I had only been doing things on the full moon. If you don't remember, it's completely fine. That's what the Book of Shadows is for. So always jot everything down. Alright, so that is all I have for today's video. If you are interested in following along with my Witch Talk 101 series, or if you are interested in general witchcraft or herbalism, do hit that subscribe button. I do try to post weekly. Also, if you have any questions or have a topic you'd like me to touch base on in my next video, please hit it in the comments below and I will be sure to check it out. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I will see you guys next time. Have a good day.